Hi, Kim.
Hey.
Hi. Thanks for sharing the time to tell your story with us today. Let's start with a quick introduction. Can you briefly describe what CCS does and what your role is in the company?
Well, certainly. So first of all, thank you for having me. CCS develops software for the brokers, insurance and service providers for the entire insurance industry. We exist for about 40 years here in the Netherlands, and we cater to all kinds of needs from front office solutions, mid office and back office solutions. I'm the PMO manager here at CCS, and together with my peers, I'm responsible for governing the lead to cash process.
Yeah.
Meaning translating deals to projects to successful billing, and making sure that all those small bits tied in together and create happy customers.
Sounds like an interesting role,
Yeah.
Kim. Before we dive into the solution, let's look back at the situation before the project started. What were the main operational challenges you faced, especially around billing, project closure, and revenue validation?
So most of the information that we needed to actually be successful for our customers was quite fragmented across multiple systems. So some of the information was living in Salesforce, other bits were in AFAS, but also every application in the Microsoft suite. So it was very difficult to connect all those bits and pieces and make sure that everybody was on the same page. And that meant a lot of rework, meant of errors that were made. And we just wanted to get a little bit more transparency and make sure that we were actually delivering the things that we promised upfront to our customers.
Yeah, I can imagine. Thanks. At some point, CCS decided that the old way of working just wasn't enough anymore. What made you realize that the existing approach was no longer sustainable?
So a couple of things, right? So we were trying to upskill in that period. That meant doing the same work, taking on more projects, being even more successful for our customers with the same team. And that meant that a lot of manual rework needed to be increased as well, and that was simply not possible. Also, we wanted to increase the transparency on our process, and we want to become a little bit more effective with how we are actually delivering our services and minimize overspends during projects. So those three factors actually weighed quite heavily when we decided to look for a new way of working.
Yeah. Clear. My colleague told me that the integration with AFAS Finance was an important part of the project and technically quite complex. What made this PSA solution the right technical and functional choice for CSS?
So we were already working with Salesforce for capturing all the deals at our customers. So we were quite comfortable with the way of working in Salesforce. However, the number of users that were working on Salesforce were quite limited. We're a company of 200 people, and only a handful of maybe 20 users were using Salesforce.
Yeah.
So we had this vast amount of information in one system, but nobody outside of our department could access that, and we wanted to change that. So we looked for a solution that on one point was able to tap in that vast treasure and also make it accessible for our project delivery, and making sure that actually what was sold up front was being translated to the financials. And we were working with AFAS, and I'm not sure if we already discussed that, but and we were working with AFAS for over 15 years.
Okay.
Meaning that, a lot of users were quite comfortable with the way of working. And making sure that, every change is difficult for the end user. We wanted to minimize that huge impact on their daily processes. And that's the reason why we decided to opt for a solution that was able to integrate with AFAS and not disrupt their way of working, but also make sure that we were able to start working and collecting that data and accessing the data and translating
Yeah.
it into real business value.
Yeah. Sounds very logical.
Yeah.
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 Now I would like to talk a little bit about the start of the collaboration with Cloudteam, with the implementation team. How would you describe the initial project definition phase with the Cloudteam? And how did it help to set the project up for success?
Well, a couple of things, because in the pre-sales phase we were already engaging with the cloud team, and they helped us with scoping out what was needed to actually become successful in the project. So having that structured approach, making sure that they have the right set of relevant documents that needed to be filled in before starting up, that really helped out, because that gave us the time that we could think about how success would look like for us, and also having like multiple ways of, you know, project management, FAQs, testing scripts. Those kind of documentations makes you feel very confident that if you do something like this, you're in the right hands with the cloud team.
Okay, thank you for the compliment again. From the very beginning, our project manager told me that we focus strongly on user training and adoption. How did that proactive approach impact your team within the project?
We gathered resources from across the company. So part of the project team were project managers, people from the finance team, a sales manager, consultants. So we had all these perspectives weighing into the analysis phase. So that's a good thing, because you can get input from several users and determine what is really important from their perspective.
Yeah.
And because they're able to interact with the system in a very early phase of the process, they are able to experience it, ensure that, you know, how does it work? Is my old way of working still applicable? Can we do the same things? And because they were able to experience the system and ask questions regarding that and future developments, that was very helpful in making sure that there was like a sound, confident feeling within the project team that we were able to pull this off.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I have heard that the system is now live for a while. This is an important question, of course. What's the biggest improvement you see in the daily operations?
So having like all the information from our customers regarding upcoming or existing deals, and translating that to actual projects in one platform, that is fantastic.
Okay.
Because you can actually see from a delivery perspective what was promised upfront, but also from a sales perspective how the actual projects that they've sold are currently being handled or being appreciated by the customers. Another strong point is that you can have the information regarding resourcing and relevant implementation requirements forecasted in one platform. So that means that you understand what is needed from a resourcing perspective, what kind of skills are needed to be able to fulfill the project, and also when you're able to actually be able to deliver the project and start invoicing. As I mentioned before, we work with the lead to cash process, which means that every different department has their own set of responsibilities, but really need to work together in order to make sure that the customer is quite happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are really big improvements.
Yeah.
Great, great. One of the major requirements was that the system had to be reliable. What feedback are you hearing from the end users about the system now that they work with it for a while?
So there's always the Pareto rule, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like 80% of the customers or the end users are
Yeah.
quite positive
Okay.
about you working with the application. There are some criticals, of course, but we actually incorporate their feedback to make sure that if there's like a new sprint for taking their feedback, for adjusting the system
Yeah.
or creating different kinds of functionalities, we actually let them test them.
Okay.
So they're part of not only bringing in, you know, the critical feedback, but also becoming our ambassadors. And sometimes that works well. I mean, we had like one consultant. He has like a lot of fragmented work across multiple customers.
Mm-hmm.
And even he was quite charmed by the system that he was finally able to administrate for 5 or 6 different customers on a daily basis what he did. So that was like a huge win. And another thing is, of course, uh, most of the users think that, you know, the startup phase is quite easy.
Yeah.
Because the system is quite intuitive, but there's still a huge hockey stick curve in terms of learning and understanding the system, because the system is quite complex, it's huge, and we need to take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to summarize it in one sentence, how would you describe the collaboration with the Cloudteam delivery specialists?
It's a very structured, warm, and flexible approach we took in implementing this solution. And I think that one of our biggest takeaways is that we always felt that we work closely together as a team. So
Yes.
not just two separate entities working on a single implementation, but as one big team. I think that that's the biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice compliment for the team.
Both sides, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I have heard that you're now moving into the next phase, optimizing and fine-tuning the PSA platform. What are the key next steps that will help CCS to push performance even further?
Creating dashboards and reporting that are actually relevant for the end users.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of data captured in by Sardinia. The trick is to make sure that we are able to make those data points actionable. So meaning that if there are missing time cards, consultants can react to that.
Yeah.
If there's like missing revenue, we can see within Sardinia what is needed from an administrative perspective, or maybe from a sales perspective, to close the gap.
Yeah.
And I think the last bit should be regarding enhancing the user interface, you know, creating workspaces that actually support the daily operations for the end user.
Yeah. Yeah. Still some work to do.
There's always work to do. You know how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Finally, the last question. Based on everything you have learned throughout this transformation, what advice would you give other organizations who consider a similar business transformation project?
Well, start out with defining your business case as sharply as possible, meaning define your goals. What is the added business value? What are the things that are most relevant for your customers and your internal users? If you have that information ready, then you can have like a valuable conversation with the cloud team in order to make them understand what is needed to make the implementation successful. And that will definitely help the implementation as a transformational program, not so much as an implementation, but as a transformation change to become even more successful. And not only that, once you go live, you know, you have the metrics, you have the big bang, everything goes well, but also after a couple of months when you decide to come back, then you can actually start measuring if there's added business value.
Yeah, yeah. Very clear. thank you for sharing this great story with us, and good luck with
Thank
the
you.
next phase, Kim.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.